Hey guys, this is Eve scrapbooking with me, and let's start working on the inside of our mini album, and then we're going to put our signatures in here. Now, I felt like mine was a little bit wide this way from here to here. I don't like a real wide book, and it was wider than it was tall. So what I did is I just folded over an inch on each side, and I'm going to glue that just at the top and the bottom, and that's going to make me a little tuck pocket. And let's see what glue I'm going to use. I guess I'll use my PVA glue. I've got to find another container to put this in. This is way too big. Alright, so I'm just going to put a little bit of that on each side, or each end, and then I'm just going to glue that down. And that's going to make us a little tuck pocket there. And it's going to make my album a little bit shorter than it was. So if your bag turns out to be a little bit wide after you've already put everything together like me, then just go ahead and fold some of it in. That'll just make this a lot stronger. Plus, you'll be able to have a little tuck pocket there. And I don't know if that's going to hold it or not. It's not wanting to, is it? It should, but alright. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to clip this and let it sit for a while. And if it doesn't catch, then we will do something else. Maybe because this has got a little bit of foiling in it. And that PVA glue doesn't really like that. Put a little bit more on these ends, so we'll see what happens there. Alright, and I'm going to go ahead and clip these. And every time I use these little clips, I have lots of people who ask me where I get them. I got these a long time ago from a company that I used to work for. But I have found some very similar on Amazon. And I'll put that link below if you want to check those out. You can get them at Walmart. I'm not sure. I don't usually go looking for things like that at Walmart. But you can check there if you want to. Now that makes my book kind of as wide as it is tall, and I like that better. Alrighty, now let's see what we need to do. I need to mark my center. So I need to see how long this is. 1 3/4, so it's 12, 13 3/4. So what we're going to do, I'm going to double check this way. Okay, I've got my center marked right there. So that's going to be the center of my album. And I'm just going to make sure. Looks like it is to me. So I'm just going to make a mark all the way up, down, and through there. Up, down, and through. I'm going to make a mark all the way up, down, and through there. Just like that. And then I know where my center of my album is, so I can put my holes in there. Now, I'm going to make a template for this to do my holes. Normally, I guess. But I've had a lot of people that said, I don't like to guess, and I don't know exactly where to put the holes or how to determine where to put the holes. So, we'll make a template. And I'm going to go, just put my ruler like this, and it's 7 inches. So my first one, let's see. Let's find the center first. Let's put the center one down first. And this is just kind of how I do. I mean, I'm showing you how the real me does this. Alright, I'm going to mark that with something else so that I can tell that's my center mark right there. And then I'm going to go up to there and put 1, And then I'll go down to, oops, move that back a little bit. There, and put one. Now, if you have a Tim Holtz ruler that has the center on it, then all you have to do is just mark your center and then just go down close to the bottom. I just went down to, looks like it is, let me see exactly. It is 1 1/8. And then this, I need to come up some. See, it's a good thing I remeasured, because I didn't put it on the right mark. This one, we need to come up 1 1/8. So we're going to put it right there. All right, we'll measure that again. Measure twice. Cut once. 1 1/8. And 1 1/8 right there. So that's going to be my mark. So I'm going to have one in the center, one up here at 1 1/8, and one down here at 1 1/8. See if you can see those. So I'm going to make a little template. Okay, all I'm doing is taking a piece of scrap cardstock. And I'm just going to cut it the same height as my book. Tell you what, I may just use that one. That's a good scrap right there. Let's try this again. See if it works. No, that one's too short. So, and then I'm just going to cut it. It doesn't really matter. I'll probably cut it about 1 inch wide. There we go. And then I am just going to mark the places on here. There's one, and right there's one. Then I'll just bring my ruler, make sure that that's straight right there. Bring it all the way across. Now this is the long way about doing it, but if you're unsure on your measurements and things, you can do this and just make a little template. I usually just punch the holes. I don't make a template, but I know a lot of people like to be more exact than I do. Alright, so there's my template. That's exactly where I need to punch the holes. Now all I need to do now is I just want to fold this in the center. So looks like it's 1 1/2, so we're going to fold it at 3/4. So I just, instead of trying to fold it with my hand, just made a score line. And then there is exactly where I need to punch the holes. Right there, and right there. So that's where I need to punch my holes. And I'm just going to use my little punch, my piece of foam, there we go. And then to punch these, just going to lay my template on there. Make sure that it is centered up right on that mark that I had. Okay, it's right on the mark right there. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this. There. Alright, there we go. We've got our holes punched in here for our needle. And we can save our template back. If we have another one that's the same size, we can use that template again. We can use it on the inserts as well. Alright, let's see if this is going to hold. Yeah, it looks like it's holding pretty well. Yep, it's holding. So we will put that over there. All right, so we're gonna lay this aside for a minute. And I've got my signatures here, but I don't really have them put together. I just have them kind of haphazardly thrown in here, the different things. Now, on your signatures, I have people who ask me, what is a signature? Because they're not used to making journals and things like that. A signature is just like in a book. When you have a book, there's a certain amount of pages that they have to sew together to make that book. So that certain amount of pages is called a signature. So, you know, they can't put 1,000 pages all together and then sew them. So they put certain little signatures in there to add to the book. So that is what a signature is. It's just a certain amount of pages. And usually when we make these journals, the signature has a cardstock cover on it like that. So, and then you just choose different papers that you want to put in here. Now I've printed off some of Tracy Fox papers. I've got this is just a glassine bag, glassine, ever how you want to say it. Now I didn't put anything on the back of Tracy's papers. I probably will just use all of that for journaling. And then I have some of those papers that I dyed that I'm putting in here. And just kind of build your signature as you would want it to look. I think I'll put that for my center. And that. So just kind of go through. Then I got some book pages from Marilyn McLeod, and I'm going to show you those in a minute. But we're going to put that, I'm going to kind of put that at the bottom, I think. So I'm going to put one of those in there. Thank you so much, Marilyn. I will read that letter that you sent me in a minute. And then these papers are from, who are these from? These are from my porch prints. So I printed some of those out. And then I've got my little, the stain tag that I did. I say little, that tag is huge. And then I have some ledger paper that I've had in my stash, and I just copied it because it was kind of on a real stiff paper. And I folded that over, and I'm going to make this pockets on each side. So we're going to put that in there like that. And then let's see, I'll put another. This is that dot grid paper that I use on all of my journals, or in all of my journals. And then, let's see, let's grab something from over here. That's one of the dyed papers that I did. And that's just out of an old notebook that I've had forever and a day that I wasn't using. So, we're going to put that in there. More of my dyed papers. And then we'll put this half sheet in there. This is just where I cut off of one of my grid papers. And then there's the raspberry dyed paper. Let's see. Put this other grid paper in there. And you can add old book pages in here. You can add magazine pages in here. It just all depends on what you want yours to look like. I like the looks of just a lot of different things because I like to journal on different pages, and I like the feel of all the different pages. Now, you can see all of these are different widths. I'm not going to worry about it right now. What I'm going to do is I'll go ahead and sew it in here, and then if any of them are too long, which that one's probably going to be the only one that's too long, then I'll just trim them off. So that's not going to be a problem. So I can go ahead and sew them in first and then see what I've got. See, that's going to be just a little bit long. I may, since that's the only one, I may just go ahead and trim it off now. Because that looks like that is going to be the only one that I'm going to have an issue with. So what I'm going to do is just use my scissors. I'm going to use those dots to make sure that I'm kind of going straight. And just trim it off like that. Now you can tear the papers that you put in your journals. You don't have to cut them straight. They can all be torn. It doesn't matter. It's up to you. That's just something that you need to do. Whatever you like. Now see, that's going to fit much better. So this is a signature right here. It's got all of my odd pages in there. It's got a little bit of everything. And that's how it's going to be sewn together. Just like that. I like that. I really like that. All right, now what you need to do, and what I do, you don't have to do this, but I like to do this because I sometimes let my paper slip because it's hard for me to hold with this hand because I have a problem in this wrist. But I usually put my papers together. I make sure that all the folds are together like that. And then I clip my papers. Let me make sure. I'm going to fold it up again. Just look at it. Yes, they look like they are. So I clip my papers and then I put my holes in here. Now I'm going to use this to do my holes with. This is template. That way I know they're going to be the same as the holes on the outside of my book. Now of course this is a little bit longer. This is a little bit longer than this because we cut this down a little bit so it'll fit inside the cover. These are actually cut at 6 3/4, and the cover of our book is 7. So you want to cut it a little bit shorter than your book cover. So all I'm going to do is just kind of leave a little bit off on this end and a little bit off on that end. I'm just going to kind of divide the difference there. And then I can always measure to make sure. Looks like I got 1 inch there. And I have 1 inch there. So we're good. Now I'm going to mark that first and just make sure. Yeah, that's the center. So with my sponge piece of paper underneath, I'm just going to press through that. And if you kind of fold it up and put your needle through, or your pokey tool through, then you're more apt to bring your needle right up through the seam there than you are if you just close it up and stick it in there. So I usually just kind of fold mine up and press. Just don't get your finger. There we go. See, it's coming out right on my fold. That's what you want. Alright, looks like I got my holes through all of them. So now we're going to sew our signature together. Now everybody does this a little bit different, and I don't think there is a right and a wrong way to do it. It's just ever how you want to sew yours together. I sew mine a little bit different than other people, but that's okay. Mine work. So that's all that matters, is if they work. And I hope it's light enough here. I have had to turn on extra lights because it is raining cats and dogs out there. This is just some, I think this is actually like crochet thread or something. I got it at Walmart. It's just that thin thread, but it's real tough. You can't break it just by tearing it. So that's what I use. I'm going to go down through the center just like that. And I've just got one of those big-eyed needles. And then I'm going to leave a little tail. And then I'm going to go up here and come back up through the top. That hole at the top. Right there. Oops. Pull my little tail too much. Then I'm going all the way down to the bottom hole and going back through. See, I've got a long string right there in the center, and that's what I want. And then I'm going to come back up through the center again. And when you come back up, make sure that you're coming up on the opposite side of where your first string is. See, this is my string that goes all the way down, and you can see these are on opposite sides. So when I tie it, it's going to tie all of that together. Now what I do now is just I take and I pull it that way, and I pull it this way just to make sure that it's nice and tight. And I just trim that off. And I usually check it on the back side just to make sure that I don't have anything weird going on. Sometimes you might have a knot or something back there. And then you're just going to tie square knot or double knots, whichever one you can do. And see, that grabs that string that goes all the way down. It grabs it and tightens it up. And I usually tie 3. I tie each one going a different way, and then that's it. That's your signature. And I leave that about like that for a little while, and I put a little bit of glue right there on that knot, and I kind of rub it in. And then when that glue sets, I can come back and cut those strings, cut those little extra strings there. But that's it. There is your signature all sewn in. And then if you don't want this, which this is not going to show when you get it in your book, but you can always ink over your strings. It covers those up. So then I can take this off, and there is our first signature. Now it looks like I have just a little bit up here that's a little bit long, so all I'm going to do is take my scissors and I'm going to trim that off. I've got 1 or 2 pages that's sticking up just a little bit. It doesn't matter to me, it's not a big deal, but if that bothers you, then you can trim it off. I usually don't worry about it unless it's a lot, and that's not but just a fraction of an inch sticking up there. But there we go. Now we can decorate this part. So let's see, what do we want to put on here? Oh, I'm going to show you the book pages that I got. Okay, Marilyn McLeod sent me these book pages and a letter, and I hope she don't mind me reading this. She says, Edith, here are some old vintage book pages I thought you might enjoy to use in your journals. They're from an old book from 1917. We have lots of antique stores around here with many old books. It's hard for me to sometimes break them apart and cut them up. I've used some pages out of this to make some paper flowers. Have fun. Sincerely, Marilyn McLeod. Then she gives her blog, and I checked out her blog last night, and it is absolutely beautiful. She's got some great things on there, so go check her out. pinkpapercottage.blogspot.com. And then that's her Etsy store. And I went over there last night, but I didn't see anything in there. But I'm sure she will have something added in there before long. So my pink paper cottage is her Etsy store. So you guys go check her out. I even like that paper that she sent that on. But look at this. Now I've already used some of these in these signatures. Elizabeth Ann fails in an examination. These are old books. They're like old school reading books. Understand Betsy. The one I used in the journal here said Betsy went to school. So these are fantastic. Oh, and they smell so good. I love to smell book pages. I also saved, I cut this off of her envelope. I used the stamps. I cut these stamps out and used them too. I love these stamps. So I cut her stamps out, and then she had this that I cut out, and I will put that in one of my journals too. So thank you so much, Marilyn. I really, really appreciate that. That's so nice of you. I will be using it. Like I said, I've already used some in here. This one has 1 or 2 pages in it. There's one page right there. Let's see what this one said on top. See if I can find it on this side. Yeah, this one said, "Understand Betsy." So those are so neat to add into your journals. Now I'm going to clip this together and we're going to decorate this front part of this. So I think I will use another piece of this book page. And I like to ink the book pages up because I like to, as I've told you before, I like for them to look like they're kind of burned or really, really antiqued. Even though this one already has a nice color with it being so old, I love for it to look real used and even singed a little bit on the edges. And sometimes I'll fold that edge up and do that like that. So we're going to use that on there. And then, since this is a little butterfly journal, is what I'm going to call it. Probably going to use a butterfly on here, but I need something else. Oh, I made these little bags, and I made these out of a real heavy vellum. And I will show you how to make these if you want to. Just let me know in the comments below. And I'll show you how to make these. They're very, very easy. I think I might want that cut down a little bit. And I use my little scissors here. I'm going to cut it down about like that. That looks better. So we'll use that. That can be a little tuck pocket. Let's see what else we want to use. And this is a piece of vintage lace that I got from Cindy's Vintage Cafe. She's one of our sister sites. She's one of my admins. So I may put that down under there. And that down. May use one of my little tickets. See how I want to lay this. I want that in there, but I don't know how. Let me see. Let me trim this little knob off right there. I like that. Okay. Let's see. I think that butterfly might be a little bit big. I think that's what the problem is. So let's grab one that's a little bit smaller. Yeah, that looks better. And I may put the book page like that, my ticket like that. And this is one of the tickets that I made, so I will put the link for those below. You can go check those out if you'd like. I think I'll just use this. This is one of those vintage journal ledger pages, and I'll make a little tag to go in here. Make sure it fits before I start working on it. Okay, that fits. And I'm just gonna clip this side, grab it, flip it over, and put it on this side and clip it, because I don't have my little template right here in front of me. So I'm just going to do that. And then, of course, we're going to ink. And I'm going to put a little hole reinforcer, and I have already inked these up. I keep quite a few of them inked up in my stash. I just buy the white ones and then I ink them with my distress ink. So we'll put that on there, and then we're going to open it Then we're just going to punch the hole, and then we'll put one on the back side. And I'm just going to use a little piece of this twine to put through here. It just happened to be laying on my desk, so it gets used. There we go. And you can decorate the tag up more if you want. Right now I'm just going to put it down in there because I really don't know what I want to put on it. But we might decorate it later. I'm going to leave it sticking out just a little bit like that. So then I will glue that down there. So let's just go ahead and start committing on this. If I don't, I'll fiddle with it all day long. Let's go ahead and glue this down here. This is some old vellum that I have had forever. I mean, it's even got some yellow spots on it. I don't know how long I've had it. A long time. And I drug it out when I was looking for something else, and I thought, well, I'll just make some pockets with this. Okay, there we go with that. And then I think I'll just lay that across like that. And I'm just going to use some Fabrifix on that to glue that on. And then we'll put the book page, I think, like that. Because I want to be able to see most everything, at least a piece of it. Fold that little corner up. Where do I want to put this? Yeah, I think I want the butterfly over here. And I'm gluing these almost straight down because I don't want a bunch of things sticking up when I start to put it in my album. You can always leave a few things up if you want. Just tuck some things under. And I think I will glue just two sides of that little ticket down. Like that maybe. And then I could always come back and make a little tag to put under there. So that is the cover of our first signature that we've done. I think that's cute. You have a little tag here that you can put some journaling on if you want. You could either even put another tag in there. There's plenty of room. So that's the first one. Now let's go ahead and put the others together. Now I'm going to put the other ones together the same way as I did that one, and then I'll come back and we'll decorate them all together. But there's no use in you watching me put each one of them together because they all go together the same way.